Here we are at a very strange mock-up of the moon where the sky is blue, here in Lunar crater where we're modeling our lunar city. And this is the main habitat, the new draft. Still got a lot of work to do on it, but I wanted to show you the anti-radiation shelves. These things outside of the habitat, they're actually gigantic. They're not shelves. They're like decks that are 27 meters deep all around most of the habitat, and between them are windows that are also very large. Here's our woman for scale. We'll talk about the scale of the building in a minute, but let me first explain what we're doing here, why we made these giant decks. They're narrow on the outside and they widen as they get closer and closer to the hab. Here we're inside them now. This will be full of rock and gravel rock and dirt, so that the amount of mass here is quite high. And on their inner edge, altogether they're like 6 meters thick, and on the outer edge where they're tapered, they're like a foot thick. That amount of mass has to exist so they can block the galactic cosmic radiation coming from the sky. Galactic cosmic radiation is extremely energetic, and it'll go through meters of material before it is mostly knocked down to something that is no longer a threat. There's always going to be a little bit that gets through. It's a statistical game. You know, these are particles that are on the subatomic scale, and they fly through solid material until they hit an atom nucleus, and then they split into other particles because they have enough energy to split chunks off of the nucleus, and then they do that again and then again until they have spent as much energy that they get absorbed, and then they stop being a threat. It takes the amount of material that I showed you out there in order to do that. So let's see, let's do this exercise of looking at the sky from the point of view of this woman who has moved here, and let's say she's like 25 now, and she wants to live a long, beautiful life here until she's like 100. So if she was just going to be here for a couple of years, probably she wouldn't need to worry about those galactic cosmic rays, because there aren't enough of them that in a brief amount of time that they would be a threat. It's over the years that they become intense enough to be a threat. But they come from the sky. They aren't scattered off the ground almost at all. So if you are looking out the window at the ground, you're okay. If you can see the sky, then you're not. And if you think about the angle here, you can see that there's a steeper angle that's all purple when you look up. And you can see straight through at your level, and then what's coming from below doesn't really matter because that's the ground in that direction. But whatever angle something is coming at, whatever angle that ray is coming at from the sky at you in this space, there is enough material that it has to go through to get to you that is pretty much completely blocked in every direction except where you can see the sky. And there are a couple places where you can see sky. I know of a couple because I had to look for them while I was building this, so I could put in just enough geometry and mass and not too much. See that little, see there? That's sky. But that's like what, 0.01% of your field of view, if not less. And you have to be in the right spot. So you're really safe. And you're inside this interior city. It's 570 meters across. Each one of these levels is 12 meters high. Those will be the main levels, and then they'll be filled in over time with construction on separate levels that split them up. And you can see through windows in most of the walls. And then this 300 meter long section here is going to be backlit by sun that comes from the roof. It'll pour down inside and be used to backlight a giant view screen that shows views of beautiful nature scenes on Earth in high resolution. So between the windows and those views, inside this giant space where you can live and work and see your friends and go to dinner and play sports and do everything involved in a normal life, a normal full life in this one space, will also feel like it has some connection to something like nature on Earth. Okay, so obviously this is expensive, right? Huge. Obviously it's going to be a long time before we can do this. But it's worth doing. It's at this point that our capabilities out there are changing life on Earth on a massive scale. It's at this point that we have taken hold of our power as the caretakers of our world and our solar system, and used it to do on the kinds of scales you can only do in space, things that will fundamentally change our reality. So this is our first part of showing you about that. It's big because our future is big, and it has to be big so we can use the powers we develop to make our home planet healthy and whole again, and make our species healthy and peaceful and prosperous.